Yeah, we're live. There it is. See? It's as
Oh
easy
my
as
gosh,
that.
it was that easy. Just
It
the
was
push of
that
a
easy.
button.
Just push of 2 clicks of a mouse.
I
So look,
know,
I
it's
got all dressed
crazy.
up for you.
I know, I saw. What a great shirt. It's so cute.
You know what I should have brought is I should have brought my Good Guys doll.
Oh, where
My
is he?
$600 Good Guy doll.
Oh my
I'm
goodness
sure you've
gracious.
seen a much better looking one.
Okay, but yeah, is it around? Like I want to see it.
I mean, it's kind of difficult to get at,
Oh, I
but
see. Is it in the box? Did you keep it in the
let's
sealed box?
get him out since we want.
I mean, come on. You got a special guest here.
I know. How can I not?
Exactly. How could you not? Oh my gosh.
Here.
Look at that thing.
You want breakfast?
Yes? Is there actual cereal in that?
No, I wish.
Oh, that's too bad. Oh my gosh, there
There he
he
is.
is.
There he is.
It's like seeing an old friend.
I bet. Although
I'm
you
not
guys
even
should
mad at
have
him
like
for
a little
killing
bit
me.
of. You should have a little animosity towards this guy, no?
I know. He killed me in such a terrible way. Oh, he's so cute though. Like I gotta tell you, I just think when he's at rest, like when he's not demonic
Yeah.
Chucky, look at how sweet that face is.
My dog is looking at this doll like it's a chew toy right now. I'm gonna tell you
You're like, it's
that.
$600. It is not a chew toy.
It's
Trust me.
literally more than you're worth. I paid more for this than I paid for you.
Oh my gosh, that's very telling, isn't it?
But
Oh my
yeah, that's
gosh.
the Trick or Treat Studios. Good Guys doll. Pretty authentic all the way
Wow.
around. So
It's the real deal. Does it move at all?
no, they
It doesn't.
some guy was selling one that did the the different
Oh my gosh, that's
voice stuff
crazy.
that Chucky does.
Oh, that's so
You know,
cool.
yeah,
So I gotta tell
but
you, like, being on the Chucky doll, the first time I held the real, like, animatronic Chucky doll,
yeah,
it was, like, one of the wildest experiences of my entire life because I wasn't warned when it was gonna start moving, and then when the doll started moving, it really, like, I jumped back. It's very unnerving. It's, like, the wildest thing you've ever seen. Also, the amount of people and artistry that it takes to make, the doll function is
yeah.
incredible.
I
Like, it's
bet.
just like there's multiple puppeteers in green screen suits, and, like, it's
Mm.
just it's insane, and then the people who are, doing the face and all that stuff, it's wild. Like, it is one of the coolest, most amazing things I think I've ever witnessed ever in my entire career. It was so cool.
I bet. I bet. So let's first start with an introduction
Oh,
for
yes,
everyone
please.
who's here.
Yes.
We'll let more people pile in. We got a few people here right now, but more will
Great.
join us in a minute.
Amazing. Hello, few people. Thank you for
Yes,
being
hello, few
here.
people. So I was contemplating back and forth attempting your name, and I was
Oh,
looking at it, and I was like, I had a few different variations of it in my head, and I was like,
yes, right? I would love to hear all of those, to be honest.
all of them. I should have started them. I should have started them with you, but I'm looking at them. So yeah, just phonetically,
Yes.
it's uh. now, now I'm nervous.
Can I
I
tell
said it
you?
out loud a couple times to myself and was like, that sounds kind of ish. Maybe what it probably is. And then I'm like, ah,
You know what? I'll tell you
maybe not.
what, my
Have
whole
you
life
ever had someone just get it right away?
you know what? There have been a couple of people who have gotten it, like, if not pretty close, like, right or whatever, but I gotta tell you, I've been so used to people butchering my name my whole life. It doesn't do anything to me, like,
I'm
I
sure.
don't take it personally, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm not gonna get any serious trauma that I'm bringing up to my therapist later, like, we're good. Like, you can butcher it all you want, it's okay.
It looks like some kind of some language that Chucky would speak to bring himself back from the dead. That's it.
Absolutely. You're right. Yeah.
Uh, Demonio. No, I had this earlier, and I said it
Yeah,
to
yeah. No, I
myself like
believe
four
you. I
times.
believe you. The pressure's on right now. The pressure's on. People are watching. You're scared.
I'm not scared. I'm
You're not
just like,
scared?
I'm
Okay.
trying to do it without screwing it up because I'm trying to impress you, but I don't got it.
Oh, good. Okay. No,
Dominio
that's okay.
Cantani. I was like, the first time I said it was Dominio Cantinio, and then I was like, okay, that's not even close.
Honestly, it
So
sounds cooler than what it actually is.
yeah, it probably is.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll help you
Domin-
out. And yes, you're
okay.
right. It's very phonetic. Like the way that you would read it at the bottom of the screen is like really what it sounds like. It's just intimidating because it's 8 syllables and 16 letters. So it's DiDomenicantonio. DiDomenicantonio. DiDomenicantonio.
Oh, Dido.
Yeah.
Dido. So I was trying to
Yeah.
put the O and the M together. That,
Oh, yes.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Dom,
Like
right?
DiDomenicantonio.
Domeni
Yeah.
instead of do instead or
Yes,
do, should
right,
I say?
like with the yep, that's right.
Mhm.
You can
Okay.
also
Okay.
honestly call me Steffi D. People have been doing it, most
I
of my
bet.
life.
I
Steffi
bet.
D is fine. Also, speaking of
Um,
names, I would love to tell you what all of my names are. You're gonna love it. Oh, your dog is also gonna
I
love it.
know. He's gonna love it.
So, all of my names are Steffi, Stephanie, Marie, Toscano, Di Domenicantonio.
So your literal first, like, you have Stephanie?
Mhm.
What? Why?
You know what? Can I just say you're a good interviewer because you didn't have an incredibly
Rigid.
like crazy reaction to that. Usually when I tell people my name is Stephanie, people are like, "What the fuck? Like what do you mean?" Yeah. Yeah, so there I have asked my parents about this. So I am Italian, as you can probably tell from the last name, and also French Canadian. And at the time that I was born, oh wow, look at that. Oh, even for an Italian, that's hard. I love it. So I have asked my mom, to kind of explain what was going on through their heads. First thing you need to know is that I didn't have a name for 3 months. So my mom called me baby for 3 whole months. Like she couldn't decide on a name. And then my parents were watching a tennis match, which they used to love doing. That was their first date. They went to play tennis and they were watching tennis, and Steffi Graf was playing. And they were like, oh, Steffi's a great name, Steffi Di Domenicantonio. And that's like, rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, it's easy. Are we
Right? Your dog
serious?
thinks so too. Yeah.
He's
So,
he's attacking our neighbors right now. Hey, buddy.
oh, he
Hey,
is.
buddy.
How appropriate for
It's
like
funny.
horror
He
movies.
never barks at people coming up the stairs. That's so weird.
Oh my gosh. It's so many spooky things are happening today,
That's
Jason.
right. That's right.
Like,
My
yeah,
dog
I
is.
did message you
Hey.
this morning. My internet was down
Wow.
for like hours. And I gotta tell you, have you seen Leave the World Behind?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like when all the internet is down and then whatever, and it's like so scary because you don't know what other people are doing. And it was
Absolutely.
just so weird. Like, obviously, we have like data. Like, I have data on my
Yeah.
phone. So I was able to
Yeah.
like message you on Instagram and stuff. But I was just like, it felt like the Twilight Zone. It was so weird that I like
Yeah.
couldn't get online. Like, yeah, we're so weak. We're so weak.
Yes. We
Yeah.
soft.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
soft is what you said, and I agree with you 110%. We soft, like, for real. Yeah,
Well, I
it's
told
crazy.
people one of the more funny experiences I've had is that made me come to that realization more so than ever
Mhm.
is I think Robert Eggers' The Witch was coming out, and I was super hyped for it, and I didn't know what to expect because at that point Eggers was a new filmmaker, and he'd made some shorts and whatnot that I watched and was like, this guy has some talent, and Anya Taylor-Joy and all these things were like, this is like a new name, so like we had no idea what to expect from that, but it
Totally.
was it was hyped. And so in preparation, I was always talking about how there's not enough cool, serious witch horror movies. Like that's one of the most vacant slots in subgenres within horror
Yeah.
as far as titles go. And because most witch movies are like for kids for the most part, and they're not usually taken
Yeah.
very seriously.
Mhm.
There's very, very few like serious witch horror movies. Anyways, this is all not getting to the point. The point
I love it though.
is
Yeah.
that I went to kind of hype myself up a bit, and I started watching, a few witch movies, and of course I went back to Blair Witch,
Oh, yeah.
and then I went and saw Robert Eggers' The Witch, within a day or two after that.
Yeah, okay.
And I came out of that, and my first, I should say, I started thinking it while I was watching the movie, but like kind of like when we walked out, and they were like, "What'd you think?" And I was like, "Well, I can tell you that modern humans are soft." And we were like, "What?" It was like, "Look, these people in the beginning of The Witch
Mhm.
in the
Oh, yeah.
16 freaking hundreds are
Yeah.
banished from their township, obviously because of religious differences, whatever. They're put out in the woods, right? Like just
Yeah.
with some stuff, and that's it. Like, here's a little
Mhm.
couple things, get out."
Mhm.
They go to a year later. These guys have built themselves a farm, a house by their bare hands. Like
Yep.
they threw them out in the middle of the wilderness, and they
Totally.
thrived.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and coming off of the Blair Witch, just a couple nights previously, I'd seen it before, of course, but it was like those kids went missing for like a couple days, and they were like, "That's it, we're dead, it's over." Right? Like, we're not making it a
Yeah.
day. These guys, you put
Yeah.
them out there for a year, they built a house.
Yeah, right, and they got so much shit done. You know what's so funny? Halfway through your story about, like, when The Witch came out and stuff, I was like, "Wait, what was the segue to this?" And then when you said, "Oh, like, this we're soft. We're soft. The people in The Witch are not soft."
I always come back around. I always
You
come
come back
back
no, no,
around.
no, it was a beautifully, beautifully said. I loved that you used horror movies to describe your point, essentially.
Always.
It's about
It's
you too.
always. It's
Yeah.
always what we
Also,
do.
The Witch, I remember seeing that in movie theaters. Can I tell you, I had a funny experience seeing that movie. I went with my boyfriend at the time, and we were the only people in the movie theater. Like, I'm telling you, we looked around, we're like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
we have the whole movie theater to
Yeah.
ourselves." We went to go see it. Halfway through the movie, we were commenting kind of to each other during the movie because there was nobody in the movie theater.
Uh-oh. You had like a shh.
Yeah, so one of the employees, I guess, of the movie
Oh,
theater came in and shushed us, and I was like,
what?
"Who are you like, from who?" I was like, "There's
Yeah.
nobody in here, like, why are you shushing
Yeah.
us?" It just made me laugh. I'll just never
That
forget that, but I was seeing The Witch,
oh.
and that's what happened.
I thought you were gonna okay, that's not the way I thought that story was gonna go at all. I actually had this happen one time where I thought you had a similar experience
Yeah.
where I was watching this movie and the theater was empty.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
just watching it, and I was kind of talking, and
Right.
I had like it was probably halfway into the movie, and somebody was like, kind of was like shh or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck? Like I turned around
Oh,
and
no,
they're like
no,
right
did it
behind
scare
me.
you?
I was like, what? Where
No, I
the
love that.
hell did you come from?
I love that. No, Jason, like, literally, we were alone in the movie theater. Like, there were no other seats taken. Literally, there was an employee that came in for, like, I guess 5 minutes. We didn't see them, but then just got
He was trying to
shushed.
watch the
And then
movie. Yeah.
maybe I guess, like, maybe and I was just like, "What the heck?" And then he left, and then it was just so silly. It was so silly.
If you
Yeah.
were there with me, he would have definitely gotten a talking to. I would have been like, "Are you serious?
No,
Are you actually serious right now?
I know, it was so silly. But,
We're
like
not just two random people sitting next to each other. We're here
yes.
together. It's okay."
Exactly, like, I'm not, like, ruining his cinematic
Yeah.
experience by being cool with him, you know? But, speaking of people talking in movie theaters, though, I had not experienced it in a really long time, but I went to see Five Nights at Freddy's, like, a couple of months ago or whenever it came out, and
October,
I'm
yeah.
talking, like, it was the rowdiest crowd
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Of a movie I've ever been in ever, and I'm talking, like, nonstop talking. Listen, I don't get angry easy, but,
Yeah.
like, I was, like, angry. Like, I was just like, "I'm trying to watch this movie," and everybody was, like, throwing popcorn at the screen and, like, making dumb jokes out loud to everybody, and then everybody was laughing, and it was, like, a younger crowd, I
Yeah.
guess, and I'm not part of the younger crowd anymore, I guess, and,
Yeah.
it made me really upset, you
Steffi
know?
Stephanie was about to do 5 nights in lockup.
You know, I did get a free movie out of it though, like, I was sitting with my boyfriend, we moved seats, but it was really packed, so we had to go to one of the first 3 rows or whatever,
Oh,
and, like,
yeah.
still at that, I was, like, still couldn't concentrate because people were, like, honestly just there was a constant murmur, and I was like, "I'm trying to watch this movie and have a cinematic experience, and you're ruining this for me." But, after I was just like, "Hey," and can I tell you, like, I have a very, like, calm, optimistic, positive demeanor, but, like, after that movie, I was just, like, so pissed that, like, I couldn't actually watch the movie, and I
That
went up to
sucks.
an employee and I was like, "Hi, can I speak to a manager, please?" And they were like, "Sorry, do you wanna speak to a manager?" I was like, "Yes, I would like to speak to a manager." We went to get a manager and I was like, "Hi, I was just trying to watch this movie and, like, it was really hard, and anyway," and they're like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. Were you in, like, Cinema 11? Like, people were really rowdy there. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna give you 2 free passes to go to your
Yeah.
next movie." And I was like, "Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Good night." Anyway, it was really hard for me, but I'm really, really glad that I said something because free movie passes, we don't say no to that.
I saw some of your acting skills coming through there. You went immediately into the
Oh,
dra I'm
yeah.
so
I'm so
That's
sorry.
pretty good. I actually was
I
buying that.
You were buying it? Yeah.
I was
I was
buying
just
it a
like,
bit.
it's me trying to be strong, but, like, withering away inside about, like, having to stand my ground, like I'm a natural born people pleaser and I don't like you know what I mean? It's hard sometimes to ask for what you need and what you want and still make
Sure.
everybody happy, you know? Yeah.
That oh my god, that story actually made me think of, like, so many questions. I'm trying to, like, filter them
Yes.
down. Number
Okay.
1, so there's, like, when you're a doctor, you have to take the Hippocratic Oath, right? So, when you're an actress or actor, do you, like, prefer actor or actress? You don't care?
I don't care, but I usually say I'm an actor. I don't say I'm an
Yeah,
actress, but
that
can I be
works.
honest? Like, I missed the conversation on why people cared about that.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Sure, I'll say actor, like, if it's offending people, like, I don't wanna say,
Yeah,
'Hey, I'm an actress.'"
yeah.
I don't know, sometimes I say I'm a performer, and then I had an ex-boyfriend of mine once say, "You need to stop telling people you're a performer," and I was like, "Why?" "They're gonna think you're a stripper." And I was like, "First of all, there's nothing wrong with that, but also,
Yeah.
who's going like, 'Oh, I'm a performer,' and then your mind is going there?" I was like, "Just this pervert ex-boyfriend of mine, I guess."
That's projection. Anybody who thinks you're saying stripper wants to see you strip. That's the
Exactly.
reality of it. That's where
That's
my brain
exactly what
went. No,
it is.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um, so the question
Yes, the question.
um, is there some kind of like code of ethics that you have to being like, if you become like a really good actress or
Okay.
actor,
Yeah.
performer, stripper,
Yeah,
do
whatever, all of the above.
yes, you could manipulate the shit out of someone with your performances, right? Like if you became like really, really good at like crying on cue and being dramatic or using it. Now, there could be places where that would be very beneficial, and I think you absolutely should use it like to try to invoke some kind of fear in someone if you're in a situation where you don't feel like you have the grip on things and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna present myself like I'm the toughest shit in the room. Maybe people will get the fuck away from me. But you could, I mean, I guess I never really thought about it, but I guess yeah, if you're really good at acting, you could absolutely manipulate the shit out of everyone you're around,
Well, see, the key
because
sentence you said is, "If you were really good at acting." I'm just
yeah, I mean, I'm
yeah,
just saying in general for all
yes.
actors.
Yeah, for all actors
But you
everywhere.
just sold me on something so simple. I feel like you got the
Yeah. Oh,
range.
I love that so much. Thank you for saying that. That's an excellent point. I'm gonna be honest, I've never used my power for the bad, only the good. It's like Spider-Man,
So
it's like
she
with great
says.
power comes great
Yeah.
responsibility. And, I do genuinely feel like I've never used that to my advantage, like, ever. However, I will say this, I found that, like, being an actor and being usually surrounded by creative people, which I what is actually really, really cool is that I find that, like, performers, strippers, actors, whatever, are really good at communicating usually. Usually, I'm not saying, like, broad strokes, like, every actor is, like, good at communicating, but I think what it's taught me maybe more about, being an actor has helped me be a better human, I think, because it makes me, because when I get a script or when I'm doing a play or a musical or whatever, I don't know, you can get in people's minds and characters' minds. And I think like the empathy meter is probably a little bit, maybe a little higher or maybe more
Yeah.
sensitive, So I think
Yeah.
like that's more the superpower, but I've never used it for doing something bad, like manipulating someone or like, but sure, I guess like in theory, maybe. But in real life, I'm actually a terrible liar, which
Yeah.
is really bizarre.
Kind of
Like I have
funny.
a really
Yeah.
hard time telling lies. Like that I know
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, am I gonna lie? But like you can tell from a million miles away if I'm about to tell a lie. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not actually good at doing that. So if I was trying to manipulate someone or whatever, I'd like to think I'm kind of heart and I don't think I would do that. But I guess in theory, yeah, maybe, I guess.
Well, people of drama, you know,
Yeah.
they are known
People
to
of
be
great drama,
dramatic.
totally. People of great
So,
drama have known to be dramatic. Yeah, I don't blame
yeah.
you for
Yeah.
thinking that. Also, can I ask you, the interviewer, a question now that you just asked me that?
Please.
If you
Please.
were an actor, would you
Yeah.
use it to your advantage?
No.
Yeah. See, like it feels wrong. It feels like there's the good and the bad, and there's like right and wrong. And I feel like you're standing up against what's right and what's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you wouldn't use it to your advantage.
No. Definitely
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. There you
Definitely
go.
not.
Yeah.
I just
So there you
thought
go.
maybe there was like some kind of unsaid thing like we don't use this for anything but the stage.
Oh, right.
You know what I
Oh, that's a
mean?
good question. I don't know. The other thing that I wish I could do is cry on cue. Oh my God. That would be
No,
so
you can't
good.
you can't do that.
I can't do it. No,
I
I
saw an
can't.
interview with Margot Robbie. She can do it.
She can do it.
Um,
I saw that same interview.
yeah, she said
Yeah.
because she was on a soap opera
She
for
had
so
to learn how
long,
to do it,
she
yeah.
had to learn
Can
how
I
to do
tell
it.
you about one of my, early onset experiences? Because I guess for context, I grew up doing musical theater, like, I'm a big
Mm,
musical theater girl, and, yeah, I grew up doing musical theater and, film and TV were kind of, like, a little bit newer to me when I was, like, in my late teens/early slash early 20s. And I got to be on this show called Lost Girl. I don't know if maybe you maybe have seen it. It's kind of
I've
like a
heard of it.
sci-fi, yeah, like maybe a little
Mhm.
sci-fi, like fantastical, like but like kind
Yeah.
of has some horror elements to it too. But I was on that show in my early 20s, and I had to. There was a scene where I had to cry. Like that was the scene. I was like in the counselor's office, and I was crying about this boy who was like going out with somebody else and this and that, whatever. And when I got to set, um, the makeup artist came up to me and was like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know, like, do you want to go take a moment to like get into the zone, or do you want the menthol stick?" And I was like, "What's the menthol stick?" They're like, "Oh, it's this thing, like, it's like
They blow
pepperminty,
in
we
your
put it
eye.
under the."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
under the eyes, and it, like, makes actors cry, and I was like, "Give me the menthol stick." I was like, "That sounds like a surefire way to just nail this." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was
Just throw
like,
some hot
yeah.
sauce in my eyes.
Yeah, I
Go
was
for
like, "Do
broke.
whatever you need to do." So then however many hours we shot that scene, it's just, like, pouring out of me, like, just, like, crying so much, it was wild, and then I gotta tell you, I had the worst headache of my life
I
after that
bet.
shoot day because it was, like, the menthol, like, I was like, "Yeah, keep putting it on." Like, I was, like, just a menthol stick, like, addict that day. I was like, "Yeah, like, give it to me." Like, it's acting, baby. Get there however you get there. You know what I'm saying? My
I
sister used to watch
do.
this show. Yeah, great show. I used to watch it
I
too, so it
hope
was
that's
kind of
not his
really
sister in the
cool.
picture. That's a
His sister. Oh,
they're real
oh,
close.
yeah.
They're real close.
Hello, they're really
Um,
close. Yes, yes. But,
she's a
great
performer.
show.
She's a performer
Yeah,
though, so
she's a
it's okay.
Oh my god, I love how I really hope that this just, like, comes back in our chat multiple times. It's like, I can't believe I led with like, that was the first story I led with, like, mostly it was like, "So, I kept saying performer, but" anyway, LOL.
Yeah,
No,
I
mate,
guess.
LOL. Also, mate,
No.
where are you
Oh, look,
from?
there you go.
Australia?
My wife
My
loved
wife
that show.
loved that
It's all
show,
the
oh my
girls.
god.
All the girls. No guy wants to admit they watched it. It's like,
But neither
my
will have
my baby
impressed.
sister watched that show.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Like, my baby
Yeah.
sister in the picture. It's like, "No, it's my mate." I
It's
love
not
it.
me. It's not me.
Yeah, yeah,
As they're
like,
like
don't feel bad.
hiding their lost girl pair.
Also also, can I say this? Like, I need to also say we kinda talked about this a little bit, but I am a really huge horror movie fan.
Yeah, we're gonna talk
Um,
about it.
oh, we must, we
Oh, we're
must.
going.
But speaking of,
Have
like
you?
oh, listen, yeah, are those all horror movies? Like, everything behind you?
Most, yeah.
Most, okay. Is there
Yeah.
Titanic hiding somewhere
Oh yeah.
in the
Well,
shelves?
you can see my favorite film of the last decade right here.
What is it? It's too far away, I can't tell. Oh my gosh, really?
Yep.
Of the last decade?
Correct.
La La
Yeah.
Land. So are you a
Correct.
musical theater person?
No. No.
Talk to me about what drew you to the movie as strongly as it did. I'm very curious.
Um, well, at number one, I think that Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone have the best on-screen chemistry of the modern era.
Ooh,
Them
okay,
in
big.
Crazy Stupid Love as well as
Oh,
La La
yeah.
Land.
God, that movie's
Um,
good.
they're phenomenal together. Of course, they made Gangster Squad as well, but that's those are the two that really resonate with me.
Okay, amazing.
Um, but I've always been a romantic at heart. I never,
Oh,
I would always be um lucky and unlucky in love, so to speak.
yeah.
Um, I would I would have opportunities at love more than most, but they would end up
Wow.
not working out as so in the end it just seemed like we all were at ground, at a square one. So it didn't
Yes,
I don't know. I don't it was one of those like it's better to love and lost than not loved at all kind of things where it's like,
totally.
I
Like,
forget what
don't
movie
cry
that's
because it's
in.
over, smile because it happened.
Right, sure. So yeah, is it better to have your heart broken and never loved or to break someone's heart?
Ooh,
Um
yeah.
so anyway, La La Land for me, it just resonated so deeply with me because not only did I buy into the romance so much, and I love the music and I love the look of it, and Damien Chazelle's direction is really great. But I really, as much as I loved the film, and spoilers for the film, um, as much as I loved everything going on, I figured we would get this traditional Hollywood happy ending. They'd just get
Yeah.
together and that'd be that, right? And everyone would be
Yeah.
smiling out the theater. But when they don't end up together, and the way the movie ends with their fantasy of realizing what should have been and
Yeah.
sending out a message to everyone about like how you always in the moment your views are always very myopic. You can only really see
Yeah.
you know what you're focused on and not what
Mhm.
you have, right? It's always
Yes.
about like what you're going for and what you need, and you're not focused on as much of what you have. And like me and Sebastian have this perfect connection. They have this perfect relationship, and they let it fall to shit because of all of the things around them that they think they need, when what
Right.
they really ultimately needed was each other. And they realize that in that moment, but it's too late, right? She
Yeah,
has a kid,
totally.
she's moved on, she's married,
Yeah.
he's got this club going on, and it's just, I don't
Oh,
know, it's this beautiful reminder to people of like, you've got to know when you've got something, and don't be like them. Like they should have had that kid together. They should have ended up
Right.
in the bar together that night. Like,
Yeah.
and they realize that in that moment, and it's kind of just like they can't just drop their family and be like, oh, let's be together. It's not realistic anymore. You
Yes,
come
right.
back to it, and it's so
Yeah.
moving to me that it just
Yes.
doesn't go for that traditional kind of idea. And I loved everything up until that point. And then, I've talked to a lot of people who've seen the movie, and their biggest gripe
Mhm.
with the movie is that they don't end up together. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're missing literally the entire point of the film.
Yes, right. Yeah. I see what you're saying. I in a way, because, like, I have to tie it back into horror, to me, I kinda go like, that's real life romance horror. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like the
Yeah.
2 people just, like, missing each other just a little
Yeah.
bit, like, being on this
Yeah.
path that, like, doesn't make sense at the time, but they needed each other, like
Yeah.
this great saying of, like, people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and how, like, for her, she, like, gives up her dream and she gives up, like, trying, and he comes to get her to take her to this audition that changes her life and all that kinda
Yeah.
stuff. It's just like, yeah, like life's moment, like the magic that happens when, 2 people are really, like, kind of meant to karmically change each other's lives? I totally
Yeah.
get that. I understand why you love the film so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna
Yeah.
say, "I love the singing and dancing." So I was gonna say, "Oh
I
my
don't have
gosh,
short
you're one
answers for
of
things. Yeah.
us."
I do love the
Yeah,
singing and dancing. I think
yeah,
I love, I love all that stuff. There's nothing about the
totally.
film I don't love. I think it's all
Yeah,
perfect, but that's
yeah,
just for
totally.
me what really really connects is that part of it. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta ask you, Jason, because, like, you just told me that you loved La La Land and that obviously I know you love horror.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie musical
Uh-oh.
horror film called Stage Fright?
Oh, so okay. So before I actually, yes, I watched your deleted scenes. Um
Okay.
and I was going to bring it up because I was going to
Oh,
bring
you
it
were
into
gonna
the
bring it up?
conversation.
Yeah, okay,
Uh
great.
you blew my big moment. That was my big
I'm so
move.
sorry.
You
Was that
you
the big
ruined it.
move?
That's the big
But can I
move.
tell
You
you, it
you
was too
ruined it.
perfect. You were talking about musical theater, like a musical theater film, and then we're about to talk about horror. I was like, "You know what? I don't
I
know if you
had yeah,
noticed
it's a good
this."
segue. I had
It's a
I
great
had to
segue.
restrain myself when you said musical that I almost did. I was like,
You're like,
no, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna
I'm
wait.
gonna wait.
I'm gonna
I'm
wait.
sorry I blew it for you. That
No, you didn't blow
sucks."
anything. No, so yeah, I the Liza Minnelli thing. Yeah,
Yes.
so the question I guess would be you get into this movie.
Yeah.
You're a fan of horror. You're a fan of
Yes.
musical theater. This is like
Mhm.
the perfect
Dream come
marriage
true.
of the two.
Yeah.
You're in a movie with Meatloaf and
Minnie Driver.
yeah, and then you do this and you're excited about it, and then all your scenes get cut. How does that feel?
You know what's so crazy? I remember it really like it was yesterday. Also, it was my first ever feature film. I kind of forget when it came out. I want to say 2015. That's a wild guess,
2014,
though.
2015, something
I
like
don't
that.
know, something like that. And, yeah, so it was my first feature film. I remember the casting process for this that I was just like, I have to get
2014.
this. Like, I can't not get this. You know what I mean? Like, I have to make
Yeah.
it happen. So anyway, I went in for this part and then they brought me in for another part. And then eventually when they cast me, which was like the best news ever, because I was like, oh my God, a horror movie musical. Like, this is my life. This is my life's work. Like, this is
Right.
what I want to do. Um, Anywho, and originally the character I was cast as got killed, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I get to do like a bucket list thing. I'm gonna get killed in this, and I get to be in a movie musical that's like a horror movie about like
Yeah.
these musical theater campers that just like get killed one by one, and just like it's a
Yeah.
bloodbath, and we get to sing songs about it. Like I just like come on, right? And also like I got to meet Meatloaf. Like it was just like such a wild thing. Anyway, so after I get cast as this part, I think it was originally called Allison or something. The director called me after, I got the good news. The
Yeah.
director calls me and he's like, "Hey, so like, we wanted to cast you so bad in this movie because you just look so much like Liza Minnelli that we were
Yeah.
like, "We can't make a movie about musical theater campers without having, like, a Liza Minnelli lookalike in it, and, like, we wanna build this new part for you, but the sad part is you're not gonna be able to die in it because we can't kill Liza Minnelli." And I was like, "Oh my god." So it was, like,
Yo,
great
yes, you
news
can.
and also really sad news all at the same time, but, so essentially, I ended up going down, like, a Liza Minnelli rabbit hole, and I was, like, having a couple meetings with the director and one of the other writers, and we kind of chatted about, like, what her journey, this, like, character's journey would be throughout the movie, and, it was just like, yeah, so we created kind of together this like part of this girl who goes to musical theater camp and she just thinks she's Liza Minnelli, like just like literally just like acts like her and like just like is just like an embodiment of like just Liza Minnelli as Sally Bowles in Cabaret, like three times
Yeah.
removed, like just from herself, like living in this delusion that she's just like Sally Bowles in Cabaret. And it was just like, it was just like such an incredible thing. I was like, when is this ever gonna happen that I'm gonna like get to do this kind of thing? So I didn't end up dying in the movie, but then months later, the movie was going to a film festival. And I was so excited for it to come out finally. And the director called me. And I
Oh
remember I
no.
was rehearsing a play at Soul Pepper here in Toronto. And I get a phone call from him and I'm like, "Oh my god, what the heck?" Anyway, I pick up and I was like between shows and like this and that whatever, and he's like, "Hey Steffi, like I have some bad news." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he was just so nice about it, and he just said, "We were running into, like, time issues." The movie was really long, and, there were things that were just left on the cutting room floor, and, like, unfortunately, most of the stuff that you were in and that you spoke in got cut. Like, you're still in the movie, like, we can
Yeah, the
see you in the
background.
movie. Yeah, like, it's just like this and that, whatever, and we're really sorry, but when the DVD comes out, because DVDs back then were, like, still a thing.
Yeah.
When the DVD comes out, we're gonna give you a special feature, and we're gonna do, like, like, deleted scenes, like, like, in memoriam of, like, your character, like, dying on the cutting room floor, and, honestly, it was like, that was pretty cool. I was definitely devastated, but to be
Yeah.
honest, all the friends that I spoke to who had done, film and TV for a really long time told me that this happens so much, like,
Yeah.
that things get cut all the time, that people, like, one of my friends told me they went to a movie premiere and, like, had a really, really big part, like, in this movie, and, like, sat down in the movie and, like, brought all their friends, and, he was like, "I was so excited for this thing," and screened the movie, and literally the credits started rolling, and I didn't even show up once, like, and I had a big part, like, I don't even know what happened. So, like, this happens all the time, and to be honest, like, this director calling me and letting me know was so kind, and even though I was really sad about it, it still ended up being this, like, incredible experience. Like, I got to hang out on set with Meatloaf, like, it was
Yeah.
one of the coolest things I've ever done, like, ever. Yeah, ever, ever, ever.
For let's see here. Yeah,
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, it's it's
Yeah.
pretty uncanny. I
It
mean,
is, and you know what? Like,
is that
when I
something that you have heard your whole life or
my whole life, yeah. You know what's so funny? I'm getting it less now because I'm wearing my hair curly. So
Mm.
before I was like I
Mm.
was dyeing my hair black for, like, years, and it's so funny, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together, but it was straight because it was much shorter than this, and it was black, and, yeah, like, at that point, I think it was just, like, so uncanny that people were like, "It's just so weird," and also the Liza Minnelli thing continues. I did, recently I got a call from somebody I had done a movie of the week with, like those Hallmark,
Yeah. Yeah.
rom-com-y things, and,
Yeah.
she was producing a movie, and she was like, "Steffi, I need to get you in this movie. We need someone." Like, we were in a meeting, and we realized we needed someone to be Liza Minnelli as Sally Bowles in Cabaret. And I was like, "I know the girl. I know the girl." And then I called you right away and I'm like, "Look, like, it's an indie film, like, would you be willing to do this thing?" And I was like, Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
So I'm in this movie, called This Time. I think it's gonna be doing the festival circuit, which is really, really great. Listen, I'm in it for seconds, but I'm playing Liza Minnelli in Cabaret in this, like, moment
You're in
on
that more than you
screen.
are stage fright.
Exactly. And I actually talk in this one, for a moment, but, I recently actually went to the movie premiere, and it was the weirdest and wildest thing at the end to see the credits roll, and it said, "Liza Minnelli, Steffi DiDomenicantonio." Like, I was playing her, like, in the credits. It was just like I was like, "What is life? This is so strange and so bizarre." And, since then, have always dreamed that when they do a biopic, they're gonna call me. Um, yeah, I did
That was
have
gonna be
another
my question.
opportunity to oh, yeah, God, I really hope that I get the opportunity to do that. A few years ago, I don't know if you saw Fosse Verdon, the, FX TV show. It was absolutely fantastic, but I had an opportunity to audition for Liza Minnelli in that too, and I did not get it. The actress who got it was absolutely amazing, but I remember I was like, "My time will come that, like, I actually play Liza." I hope so anyway. I yeah.
If in that show that you just told me about, if you were to have went to the movie and your parts were to have been cut for the second time in a row playing a Liza Minnelli character, would you just be like, "That's it.
I would
That's
take it
it. I'm
personally.
not playing her again.
Yeah,
Every
I would
movie
take
I'm
it
in is that character. I'm out."
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, like, I think I'd start to take it pretty personally at that
Yeah.
point, like, I'd be like, "Okay, like, something's going on, like, why am I the only one who believes?" Like, everybody's been telling me my whole life I look like Liza Minnelli, but you're not gonna give me the opportunity to shine as Liza Minnelli in something? It seems cruel, you know? It
Maybe
seems
Liza's calling in and she's like,
It's
"I
like,
want
"This
that
girl,
girl out
don't
of the
let
movie."
her even get near my life." Yeah.
She looks more like me than me.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of it's really it's just crazy. But also a good thing is I know what I'm gonna look like when I'm older maybe.
You're prettier than Elizabeth is, though. You have,
Thank you.
um,
I appreciate
she has
that.
much more wide set eyes, and they don't.
Sure, yeah. Our
She
features are
wears
a
a
little
good
bit
amount of
different.
makeup. I'm looking at pictures of her when she's like not done up and she's
Right.
younger before she had all the glamour and glitz and
Yes, the
everything.
glitz and yeah,
You're
yeah.
definitely better looking than her. So
Thank
a
you.
better
You're very
looking
supportive.
version of what she looks like. Anyway.
Thank you. Don't tell
Um
her I said that though, it might hurt my chances. Don't hurt my chances.
oh shit, let me get my phone. I just text
I
her.
know. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um
right now. Yeah. I really
I
hope
got her
that
on
one
speed
day
dial. Is that a thing
oh, yeah.
anymore? Speed dial?
I don't know actually. I
I
mean,
don't think
speed
that
dial, like,
exists.
everything's so speed dial on your phone anyway. Like,
Favorites.
you go through your contacts and you're like, "This is speed dial." Like, I'm not, like,
Yeah.
putting the number in. I don't know. But
Yeah,
God, I would
just
love to come face to
Siri,
face with her at some point.
call Liza
Yeah.
Minnelli.
Yeah. Call, "Hey, hey, mm-mm,
Oh shit.
um"
My phone's like, I don't have a contact for Liza Minnelli.
That's hilarious. It's like, I don't see a contact for Liza Minnelli here. Yeah.
I'll tell you this: I'm not a conspiratorial minded person at all. But
Yeah.
I will tell people that
Yeah.
you know people are like all worried. Oh, Big Brother's watching you and listening to this and that, and I don't want this and that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they're like, I don't want to. They could be bugging my house, and I'm like, bro, you
I know.
carry a
Yeah.
microphone and a video camera around with you at all
I
times, and
know
they're
at
like,
all
oh,
times.
it's they
I
say
hate
it's not
it.
listening to you. Really?
Yeah. No,
Then
it's
why when
listening.
I say, hey Siri,
I know.
does my phone react?
I know, it's so weird. It's
It's
so
listening
crazy.
to every word you say.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Also, like, haven't you said, like, if I say, like, "Oh, man, I really gotta go to this week,"
Oh,
literally, the
100%. It
next
comes
time I
up in your
open
searches and everything.
Instagram yeah,
Yep.
it's like in my
Yep.
sponsored it's like sponsored
Yep.
ad or, like, if I'm looking up, like, Valentine's Day plans or whatever, like, it's just, like, then everything you're being bombarded with, like, the algo is listening, you
Yeah,
know?
I get like Groupons to local performers because of how much I talk about them.
Yes. Can I tell you that was was so excellent. I hope you at least bring it up a couple more times throughout
I
this
didn't want to let you down. I didn't want to
please
let you
don't let me
down.
down. Like,
And
yeah,
if we're oversharing,
yeah. Wait,
for a
are
good
we
majority of my
oversharing?
childhood,
Yeah, okay. Yes, we're oversharing. Go for it.
for a good majority of my childhood, my mother was a performer.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
so then it was
yeah.
serendipitous that I brought it up, I think. It was
There you
serendipitous.
go.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
needed this like a therapy appointment. I
yeah,
needed
well, there you go.
Stephanie.
Also, like, I want you to know, like, make that money. I have, like, no you know what I mean? I'm not, like very supportive of
Hold on,
people
let
who
me get
wanna
this
do
sound clip
things.
to send to my mom.
Absolutely.
No,
Yeah, yeah,
just
of
kidding.
course, of
No,
course. Yeah, it's
no, we
like, I
actually
think it
don't
can be
speak, but
oh, I'm sorry.
that's all right. That's all
That
right.
blows. But I
Yeah.
just do wanna say in general that, I think, like, it can be a really empowering thing, like, I don't you know what I mean? I know there's a lot of maybe closed-minded people out there, but you gotta do what you gotta do, and it's all
Yeah, we
good.
won't overshare too much on that
Yes.
stuff because you'll get me started on a whole wave of my
Oh.
subscriber rate will just drop.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
we're a very divided
I
country
don't wanna
these
see that.
days, so we
Well,
can't talk
yeah,
too
yeah, that's
much
right.
about things.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, absolutely, we gotta be careful. But horror
Yeah.
movies are not off the table, so it's okay, you
No,
know?
they're not. But don't you
I
feel
think they can
like
be dividing, though. D Horror movies can be dividing, like, they can I don't know, what do you think about that?
well, I was gonna ask you. So I don't know how much interaction you have in the horror community outside of like just watching them and acting in them.
Mhm.
But I'm in the thick of it,
You
so to
are,
speak.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if there's anything these days that isn't politicized in one way or another, that isn't divisive,
Mm,
that isn't,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
um, doesn't elicit some kind of inflammatory response from, the
yeah,
others. I
yeah,
just feel like whatever opinion you hold now,
mhm,
it's just scrutinized and
and problematic
trolling has
maybe almost
become
no matter
such a
what, yeah,
huge
I see what
part
you're
of
saying,
people's
yeah.
culture and whatever. So, um, I guess that's a good segue to ask you, like, um, what was your first interaction with child's play and horror in general?
Oh, wow. This is a great question. Also, can I just say, speaking of like being divisive and like all that kind of stuff, I saw a meme online recently and it just made me laugh literally so hard. I'm going to butcher it, but like maybe you've seen it. It was, like a text meme or whatever you call those. And it was like, I like oranges. And then like another person going like, "What about mangoes and pineapples, you asshole?" Like I'm literally shaking right now. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it's like
right.
we can't even
You can't
we
say
can't have
anything.
nice things because we can't
Yeah,
say like doesn't mean that because I like oranges that like all the other fruits are like pieces of shit. You know what I mean? Like but yeah, so I just wanted to say that. So okay, I'll tell you what
100.
my first interaction with Child's Play was. It was actually like a non-direct it was a non-direct, interaction at first. My
Okay,
father growing up loved horror movies. My dad, I come from a family of doctors, like, everybody is in the scientific world in my family mostly except me. I'm, like, very, very much the black sheep of the
black sheep.
family.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
yeah, so my dad has always, like, loved horror movies. He would work really, really long shifts, and then sometimes when he would get home really late and we were all asleep, he would, like, put on a horror movie, fall asleep in front of the TV or, like, whatever, and,
Yeah.
go to bed and whatever, and I think growing up when I was a kid, like, I didn't really watch horror growing up. I think I was too much of a scaredy cat a little bit, and, my dad one day at the dinner table was like, "Man, last night I watched this really, really scary movie about this, like, doll that, like, is, like, possessed by this spirit, and he's, like, killing people, and there's this one scene where the doll is, like, lying, under, like, a couch, and the
Yeah.
woman, like, looks under the couch, and then it attacks, and he just said, like, it traumatized him, like, that it just, like, it got under his skin and it really, really scared him, and, and it's so funny, that's literally the first I had ever heard of Child's Play. I don't remember how old I was, but, you can find out how old I am on Wikipedia, so I'm just gonna say I was born in '89, and,
Okay.
so, like, I don't know when he must have watched the movie, but maybe, like, who knows, like, short
Years
after that
after it
or
came out,
whenever.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, after he came out. Anyway, so my dad's always been a big fan of horror, and I only warmed up to it, like, later in my life. I think, like, being a teenager in early 20s and, and then I expanded my palette as I've gotten older because 'cause I'm, like, get less and less scared every time I watch something scary. But then, what's funny about Chucky is that I actually, like, completely started out of sequence. Like, I hadn't seen the first one when I saw Cult of Chucky, which is, like,
Oh,
really
wow.
far down the line
Yeah.
because I know Michael Terrio, speaking of musical theater, he's a big musical theater person in Toronto, where I'm from, and we had crossed paths a bunch, and I was just like, "Oh, I wanna see this," like, I anyway, so Cult of Chucky, and then since then, I have made my way through slowly but surely the movies. Though this is gonna sound like blasphemy, I still haven't seen
Uh-oh.
all of them. I know,
Uh-oh.
don't be mad at me. I know we're gonna
All
have a
right,
problem here.
guys, that's the
Yeah, you're like,
show.
"That's it, goodbye." Um,
Muting her now. There it is.
but
Just
you
kidding. Just
I
kidding.
knew I was getting in trouble, though. I knew this was gonna come up. I was like, "You're gonna have to come clean." Like I said, I'm not a good liar. I said that before. So then
You're like
I
up all night sweating under the
yeah,
covers.
just, like,
Fuck, maybe
sweating
I
or,
should
like,
just watch the movies I
just
haven't seen
watching
before I go
yeah.
on.
Totally, before I go on. And then, like, the Aubrey Plaza, remake also I had seen and, like I said, it's been, like, a very sporadic, discovering of the franchise, and then when I found out I was gonna be, like, in it, oh my
Yeah.
god, like, I
Is that
just
because of Michael?
Michael. Who's
Is
Michael?
that what you not just said? What's the actor you said? Michael Terrio?
Oh,
Is that
Michael
name?
Terrio! For a second, I was like, "Who's Michael?" I literally just said that.
No, it's
No,
fine.
like, this is what happened. I, I got, like, an audition for it, and, I was kind of like, "Oh my god." I was like, "This is, like I think this is the holy grail of, like, horror." I really do
Yeah,
think that, like, out of all the franchises, like, I think Chucky's one of the most well-loved and, like, the fans are so loyal, and
yeah,
people just, like, love this doll, like, so much, and I understand why. I think, like, we love to hate him, and we hate to love
yeah,
him, and that's what
yeah,
makes him a perfect villain,
yeah,
in so many ways, and then when the audition came around, again, it was, like, this thing of, like, I will stop at nothing for me to, like, do this, and I just, like yeah, I remember I coached my audition and I just, like, put together a self-tape. It wasn't an in-person audition because, pandemic has changed a lot of the business, moving forward, and, yeah, so I auditioned and, like, honestly, when my agent wrote to me and went like, "Hey, the team loves your tape. They're wondering if you can put this on tape as well, and they kinda wanna see how you do this. Like, can you send this to me by end of day tomorrow?" And I was like, "Oh my god." I was like, "The powers that be, like, have seen this tape now." And, like, I just felt so much like it was mine to lose, and then I heard that there were, like, a few people on hold for it because often that happens in the business where,
yeah,
um, they'll do an availability check, make sure you're free for the shoot dates and stuff
yeah,
like that, and, when my agent called me and said, like, "Hey, great news, you're on hold for this," I was just like, "Oh my god, I'm so close, like, I'm a step closer to this, and I'm so excited." But I knew that there were other people in the picture and that other people were also in the running, and the fact that it swung my way like, listen, the times in an actor's career where, like, the stars align and it happens are rare, like, are like, can be few and far between, can be rare, can, I don't know, it's just like, yeah, you wait for that phone call that's just gonna change your world a little bit. And like sometimes those are few and far between. And this one, like getting this call, I gotta tell you, was just like the most like one of the proudest moments of my life, and like the joy that I felt, I can't even express to you. And also, I knew from the sides that I got, sides is like words for, it's just another word for scenes in film and TV.
Yeah.
And when I got the sides, I kind of was just, I was genuinely like, oh my God, I would get to die in this. And like, not only that, but like my throat would get slit by Chucky. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, by the iconic Chucky himself,
Yeah.
and I just I really I dreamt about it so badly. And I've always really secretly just if somebody offered me like red pill, blue pill and said like one of them is like this and like the other one is like you become a scream queen like for the rest of your life and like that's just all you do, you just like always get killed and stuff, I'd be like, yeah, give me that pill. I want that one. I just like I think I have a that was so me dying on Chucky was my first time ever dying on camera. And
Oh
it
yeah.
was like, wasn't it the craziest way to go?
Yeah. Yeah. Very memorable death.
Yeah,
Did
like
were
very
you
memorable.
were you like so when you got the part,
Yes.
were you under the assumption that your part would be bigger, smaller? Like, because it
Oh, that's a
you're
good
in it
question.
what? Maybe
Couple of
how many
episodes.
minutes to get all together?
Oof, that's a great question. I have no clue. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
no idea. Um,
Yeah.
that's a great question. I haven't
5 to
added it
10
up,
minutes,
to be
maybe
honest.
5 minutes,
Sure.
10 minutes,
Yeah,
somewhere in that
absolutely.
area.
Yeah, somewhere along
Did you
those lines.
think it would be more, or were you excited that you got so much?
Oh, listen, at that point, I would have I would have done background work on it. Like, I'm serious, like,
Yeah.
doing anything on it would have been the coolest thing I've ever done, and the fact that it got to be that, I was like, "Holy shit, like, this is one of the coolest things I've ever done," and also, it's like all the other things that came with it too, which was I had so many firsts on this shoot because I had to go get a mold done of my
Yeah.
they did my entire face and my torso,
Yeah.
and, that in itself was, like, one of the wackiest things I've ever done, like, it was so crazy. I got a time lapse of it on my, on my phone. It was so crazy, like, you don't understand, like, the process that it took, like, hours. I was in the chair for hours, and then
Yeah.
once they started, like, pouring the silicone and, like it was just one of the craziest things I've ever done, and the place I did it at, it was Mind Warp, and I have to, like, give a shout out to Francois and Tennille who worked on it. The place, like, the studio that they make all these prosthetics in, like, are filled with prosthetics from different horror movies that you've definitely seen or horror shows or whatever. So I walked in, and it was like a museum of, like, horror stuff I had seen, and I was losing my mind.
Yeah, I bet.
Like, and I got shown, like, all the, the Hannibal TV series? Had you
Oh,
watched it?
yes. Love it. Love
All
it.
the crazy shit from that was, like, hanging on the walls and all that stuff. I was literally losing my mind. They gave me a tour, they showed me all the stuff, and also, like, a little tidbit of really fun information. I don't know if you watched probably I'm gonna guess you haven't seen it, but maybe your wife has watched it. I don't know if you've seen Sex Life, the TV show on Netflix?
No.
Okay, great.
No.
Yeah, you're not the demographic, so I don't blame you. I'm also probably not the demographic. However, I did watch it because it was saucy and it was really fun and like whatever. And it's shot in Toronto actually, so I kind of, I love to educate myself. And there's an infamous scene in Sex Life in season 1 where one of the lead actors is in the shower. He turns around, you see the goods, and it's like
Yeah.
the wildest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. And like
Yeah.
people like it just sent like social media into a frenzy. Like, is this real? Is this
Is this
not
a
real?
real
Is this
dick?
whatever? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
well, can confirm that it
It
wasn't
wasn't.
real. And I held the prosthetic in my hands.
And other places, yeah. You took it home with you, right? They're
It
like,
was
wait a minute, what
literally
is Steffi?
yeah. Yeah, it was
You're
literally
like, you
in a
guys have a
box of other
bathroom?
dicks. Yeah. Sorry?
Yeah, you guys have a bathroom? Steffi, get back here
Right?
with
Like, "Hey,
that.
yeah, exactly." But literally it was in a bag it was in a box of other dicks from other shows,
Yeah.
and it was hilarious, and honestly, like, again, like, it was the coolest thing, the process of shooting Chucky, even for those 2 episodes, like, I also got to meet, like, Devon Sawa, like, it was Devon Sawa's secretary? Like, are you
Yeah,
kidding
right?
me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
insane.
when so when you tell someone to eat a bag of dicks, you're referring to a specific bag of dicks you actually
Actually,
held.
like, a box, I'm talking about
You're
a
like, "No, I
box.
literally here, eat these."
Yeah, like, "Go eat these, go to Mind Warp and go get those."
I
Yeah,
I've seen the proverbial bag. It
yes, that's
exists.
right. I've seen it with my own eyes, like, truly,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
My
Devon
favorite
Sawa, I mean,
Sawa.
as far as Devon Sawa goes, Jesus Christ, I would
I
say
know.
the first time I saw Devon Sawa, that's a Casper? I mean,
Oh, of
I
course. Oh
don't
my god, every girl had a
yeah.
crush on him.
Yeah, my wife, oh my
Every
god, had such a
single
thing for him.
girl.
She didn't even know that was Devon Sawa until we just recently rewatched
Well,
Casper,
he was so
maybe last
blonde.
month,
Oh, you
and
rewatched it?
she
I
was,
haven't
like,
rewatched most of the
blown
time.
away that that was him.
I know, it's
I also
insane.
showed her, SLC Punk maybe a couple weeks
Oh,
ago.
yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, like, meeting him was so cool because I'm a huge like, I'm talking I have the DVD box set of Final Destination,
Destination, yeah.
and I've had, like, binging parties where we'll try to get through all of the Final Destination movies in one night, and, yeah, Devon Sawa, I was like, "Oh my god." Like, it's just, like, crazy. Like, come on. It was cool. He's so nice and, like, I can't say enough about, like, how incredible it was to watch him act. Like, he's
Oh,
such an
sure.
amazing oh my god. I was just that entire set, though, like, Gil Bellows also, who plays, what's his character name again? Oh my gosh, Price. Price? Um,
Mhm.
uh, he he's, like Ally McBeal, like, a royalty and, watching him and, LJ also, like, president's wife, like, everybody who was in the scenes where I would come in for 2 seconds and go like, "Hey, here's your mail." Like, they're so incredible, and I got to like, because I was waiting behind the door to go give the mail in the middle of the scene, I got to, like, always, like, watch them working on the monitors and, like, see their performances, and it was so cool and such an amazing learning experience for me as well, and I was just, like, floored by the talent that was in that Oval Office. Like, it was
Yeah.
just so incredible, and also the people who work behind the scenes, like, again, like I mentioned it at the beginning of this stream, like the people that it takes to make the world of Chucky
Yeah.
come to life, like you would never believe the amount of hard work that goes into it. I just have such a respect for people, anybody who makes a movie or makes a TV show, but like people who make like horror movies and horror TV shows,
Yeah.
man, like the blood, sweat, and tears, like literally that go into it.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane, and I got to see it firsthand, and, um, that death scene, like, honestly, the day that I shot the death, like, I can't tell you, like, I woke up in the morning and the spring that was in my step, and I woke up, like, so early. I think it was, like, a 5 AM
Today's the
pickup
day
or
I
something.
die.
Yeah, it did I was like, "Oh my god, I get to die today?" And I was like, I it was just the wildest thing. It was the
Yeah.
wildest thing, and all the mechanics that went into shooting that scene, like, we shot it in, like, very specific chunks, like, we
Oh, I
had to,
bet.
like me opening the door, coming in, like, at my desk first, and then coming in, and then eventually finding the doll, holding the doll, then getting all of the angles before the blood starts pouring because we really only shot that once because we
Oh,
only had
wow.
the one take. We did a pickup, in the middle because I was already bloodied up, so some of the close-ups was redone for a second time, but it was shot the one time, like, the thing that you saw on your TV, was like it was the amount of nerves and adrenaline that went through my body when they were
Yeah.
like, "Okay, we're calling a standby, we're gonna call an action, and once you go and the blood comes out, you go and you can't stop." Like, it's like and I didn't even know, like, I was like, "I don't know what this is gonna feel like. I don't know how I'm gonna actually react to the blood, like, coming out of my neck and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff," and I was wearing a prosthetic, neck piece, that took, like, about an hour to put on, and it was glued on. It was matched to my skin color. There was a balloon in it that was, like, slit, and then they made a
Yeah.
slit in the neck. It was like this crazy contraption, and I had these tubes going all the way down my back, and they had this pump, and then, like, once we started rolling and they just started, like, pumping, and then eventually, like, I felt the balloon kind of fill up, and then the blood started, like, squirting
Yeah.
out, and, like, I gotta tell you, like, it was just I've never felt adrenaline like that, like, also knowing that, like, we get 1 shot, you have to do
Yeah.
this in 1. But that's where my theater training came in handy because I was like, "You just gotta give it everything you have, like, right now. It just, like, has to happen."
But you
And
also
it
don't
was
wanna overact.
totally. So it was just like
Right.
yeah, and we had rehearsed it a bunch of times without the blood. So it was like, okay, so you go here, you turn around, you're gonna fall on your knees when you get here. There's gonna be a lot of blood, then make your head go back. And this, we had choreographed it really, really carefully. And the stunt person was incredible, also, and the directors on the show are incredible. And it was just like very carefully planned. I felt very comfortable. And then the adrenaline went, and it was like, okay, we're gonna call action. Like, nobody move. Like, this is just all Steffi, here we go. And they had a couple camera angles and then we went for it. Yeah,
So
it
if you
was
fuck
crazy.
that up, like, what happens?
That's a great question. I don't know because well, thank God it didn't happen that I fucked it up,
Yeah.
but I don't know what
Yeah.
would have happened if I fucked it up. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So there you go.
It's a lot
Yeah,
of
it's
pressure.
wild. Just oh, so much pressure. Yeah, for sure. Like I just like, yeah, it felt like it was like, you gotta like show up right now. Like you gotta be here in this moment and be the most present you've ever been in your entire life because blood is about to gush out of your neck. Yeah. So it was
Yeah,
crazy. It was
that's
crazy times. Crazy time. Yeah.
definitely, crazy for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I
Did
don't
you
even
think it
know.
looked cool? Didn't it look
Oh,
cool?
yeah, it's definitely one of the memorable kills of I think the show has incredible kills, and
Incredible.
I
Yeah.
think being behind the scenes like you have been,
Yeah.
I definitely think it would be, more illuminating for us because I'm a horror gore freak.
Yeah.
I'm always like, "There's never enough, and it could
You
have
never
went
know.
harder always."
Yeah, sure.
But I think being behind the scenes and on the set like you have been, I definitely think that gives you a better appreciation,
Oh my god,
and
yeah.
you can also like take yourself away from it and be like, look, you don't understand how hard it is to just do one, right? So to ask for
Yeah.
like 40 in a movie, it's like that's just too goddamn much, right?
Yeah,
You can't like,
absolutely.
and the
It
money, and I mean, how many
mhm.
people do you think work on the Chucky doll like at once?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, when I was there, I think I was told there's 6 people?
Six?
I that might be wrong, but I think yeah, because like I said at the beginning of this chat, there were minimum 3 puppeteers on him physically, and
Yeah.
then, yeah, and then the animatronic face is another, like, 2 or 3 people. I think I had also read articles because I did a deep dive after, and it's funny, I found it in an article somewhere how many people actually work on the doll, but it's, there's a lot of people, just don't quote me on it because 'cause I'm not actually sure, but it it takes a lot of people, like, the artistry
Quoting
that
you
it
on it
takes
now.
yeah, yeah, you're tweeting it right now, and, yeah, texting Don
Steffi
Mancini as we
says.
speak right now. Um, yeah, I bet. Yeah, so, like, honestly, tons of people, like, I'm telling you, the amount of people that it takes, to make this show happen, like, the appreciation that I had for it before was obviously really great, but it, like, I it's incredible. Like, the creative team behind this show is so like, it's just so, like, it's such a beautiful team effort that, like, to make this thing come to life, it's incredible.
So how similar does the doll look in real, like, on set as you're talking to it? How
Oh, how
close does that appear to what we see on screen? Like, does it look like he really is talking and moving around? I mean, obviously, you can see the puppeteers and the
yeah,
stuff
absolutely,
around
yeah.
him that moves him, but like in his face, he's
Yeah.
so lively and animated in a
Yes,
way where
totally.
it actually feels like there are CGI enhancements put in.
Right.
So
So
is his face and his movements and his expressions when you see him talking on set,
mhm.
do they match a lot of what we see on screen? Is it that, like,
So
close?
this is what I've, like, understood, and again, like, please don't quote me on this, but when I was having conversations on set, you're like, "You're doing it right now." Everything you see is everything I saw, and everything that's on screen is actually the animatronic doll, and it's like, that's what makes it so crazy.
Impressive, yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's so impressive because I think at the beginning of our chat, I told you when I was first holding the doll and they were just doing angles, like they were trying to figure out the best like places to set the camera. So I was just like holding the doll out and just like staying in position, like between shots and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, the face moved and he did like a classic like
Yeah,
Chucky thing. And I was just like, I jumped back. Like it made me go, ah. And then everybody
right,
saw that because you don't think the doll is gonna move, and then
right.
it does, and it looks so real, like, it is
Especially when none of the guys are around.
yeah, no,
And you're just
exactly, yeah, and it's
you're
so
just in
wild.
there by yourself. You're like,
It's crazy. Yeah, no, I gotta tell you, like, and while I don't know all the logistics of how the doll works, everything that happened on the day is what I saw on the screen.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's why it's such an incredible, like, feat for them. Like, I'm so impressed, and I think it's so freaking cool that, like, this character has existed for so long, and,
yeah,
like, when the first movie came out in the '80s, like, you go, like, we didn't have all the technology back then. Like, I just go, like,
yeah.
think about that. Like, that's insane. Like, I just go, it's incredible that, they were able to, like, make this doll, like, live and be scary enough that my dad was, like, freaking out when he saw the movie, and it really scared him, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, talk about it because, you know, nowadays, obviously, they have way more at their disposal.
Oh,
To see what
totally.
they did back in '88,
Yeah,
that's really kinda that's crazy to me because they didn't have the ability to, like,
I
do
know.
green screen and like they do
Yeah,
now. Like, a lot of that stuff had to just be,
yeah.
like, interesting camera work, and then,
Yes,
of course,
and yeah.
they had an actor who was running around in a little suit.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
which is pretty funny.
It's amazing. I do like I love it, but they had to
So
get
now
so
with
crafty.
the Chucky, obviously now,
Mhm.
it is 100% always animatronic. They never have any
That's what I
human.
understand from it. Like,
Yeah,
in a court of law, like, hopefully this would hold up, but, like, yeah, that's the impression that I got from people. That's the impression I got from being on the set as well, and that's what makes it such an incredible, it's just so wild. Like, I just again, when the doll moved in my hand for the first time, I was like, I was shook at my core. Like it was it's incredible how lifelike and human Chucky when he comes to life, the doll, it's incredible. It's
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, so cool.
Which did you enjoy more? Seeing Chucky or the Bag of Dicks? Was it was there was
Sorry, that's really, really very funny. Definitely Chucky. Look, the
okay,
box of dicks was cool, okay? It was cool, but,
yeah,
honestly, yeah, Chucky takes the cake,
okay,
Chucky takes the cake
okay.
no matter what at any point, like, it's so cool. Yeah,
Just
that's
just had
amazing.
to clarify. Just had to
Of
clarify.
course. Please, I'm, like,
Yeah.
actually glad you clarified that because yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're about an hour and 15 in. I don't know how much time you set aside for this. I don't want to hold you too long. I told you it'd
Yeah,
be about
yeah,
an hour. I want to make sure
I got
I don't
you. No, 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 that's
overstay
okay.
our welcome
I
here.
gave myself some extra time. There's extra cushion time. So,
Extra cushion for
if
that
you have, like,
pushing.
some
Got it.
burning questions that you wanna drop in the chat or
Oh
that,
yeah. You
you
got
wanna
some
ask,
questions
you
for
let me
Steffi?
know.
That aren't related to the bag of dicks or her
Yeah,
stripping career,
yeah,
which has
because
not started yet.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
I know
because
that
those are
the
the fun.
mangoes are coming for you after your little
I
comment there.
know, the mangoes are
Yeah.
coming for me. By the way, I love mangoes.
Do you?
I love mango. I love a mango. Yeah.
Is that your favorite fruit?
No, I would say raspberries is my favorite fruit because 'cause they're red like blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, raspberries when so I think this is true of most fruits, but like when they're perfectly in
Oh,
season, when they
yeah.
have that
Yeah.
perfect like flavor and there's no sourness and it's just like
Yeah.
candy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Raspberries are amazing for sure.
I know they're
Watermelon's mine. A perfect
Ooh, yeah,
watermelon
of
is
course,
like
like,
the best.
seedless? Like, do you like spitting out the seeds or you like the seedless?
Um, I mean, I kind of feel like they should have seeds. You know what I mean? Like when
Yeah.
I'm eating them, I'm like,
Yeah,
if
'cause
I do get
you
seedless, I'm
don't
like, some fuckery happened here.
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah,
this is
for
supposed
this
to
to
have seeds,
happen. Yeah, yeah,
right? It
yeah.
doesn't feel. It doesn't. It feels like I'm eating something like Monsanto made or something, where I'm
Oh,
like, what
absolutely, yeah,
what
I feel
lab did you make this in?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
I have
I
a
do
question.
prefer to not have seeds because it's like the seeds are just annoying,
They are
but
annoying. I
they're
agree.
they're organic and they're supposed to be
Yeah,
there. So I don't know.
yeah,
Part of my brain's like, should you be eating this? Where are the seeds
yeah,
at?
that's fair, but you love a water, you don't discriminate. I
It
do
says
have a
you're
question.
bilingual,
Yes,
and
I
somebody
am.
said
Yes,
here
I speak fluent French growing up in Quebec. Yes.
you
Okay.
speak French.
Yes. I speak French. French is actually my first language.
Oh
I'm a
wow,
native French speaker. Yeah. And
wow,
I grew
you have
up
no
going to
accent.
French school and all that stuff. Thank you. I worked real hard to get rid of my accent, like really, really hard.
But
Um,
French is like the
and
sexiest like accent. If you're gonna have any accent, you,
well, I
you
don't
kind of
have a French from France accent. I have a Quebecois French accent, which is, like,
oh,
definitely less sexy. Like, it
it's
just
not
doesn't
that
have the
sexy.
same clout. It doesn't have the same
Yeah,
clout. But yes, I grew up I was born in Montreal, Quebec, and then I grew up in Ottawa, Ontario, which is a
yeah,
very bilingual place, but I did all of my schooling and everything in French. And I started taking extracurricular, like, theater classes and singing classes and dancing classes in English, and it took me forever to get rid of my accent. I'm gonna, like, shamelessly plug this because it's just fun, but,
shame.
it's just so fun, shamelessly. I was on Canadian Idol when I was 16 years old, and,
Whoa.
yeah, yeah, you're gonna Google it after you get off this call, I have no doubt.
Googling it
But
right now.
if you watch interviews that I did when I was on Canadian Idol at 16 years old,
Yeah.
you'd be like, "She sounds like a different person." Like, I sounded like Celine Dion, like, the really thick French Canadian accent. I still had it at 16. I would say I only got rid of it, like, at, like, 18, 19, and even then people were like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm lying to
Why
everyone
did
because."
you want to get rid of it?
Well, that's an excellent question. At the time that I was growing up, it was not super I really wanted to work in the medium, like in, film and TV and theater in English, and in the
Mm.
medium, like, the accent wasn't really accepted. I feel like things have changed a lot now. They look for, diversity in so many different ways, but back then it
Yeah.
was just like, well, you're not believable as an English speaker because you have an accent, unless I was auditioning for French Canadian characters, which has happened more now than it ever has when I was growing up. But yeah, I think it was like not as I don't know, like, it was like if you wanna work in the business in English, you can't sound like you're from somewhere else. So I think
I
that's why I
mean,
worked really hard.
yeah, yeah. You're right, though. I think that's definitely changing.
Totally,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Although I feel like even if they do cast you with the accent, they
Mhm.
always have to have some exposition to where you're from.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Yes, I see exactly what you're saying. Yeah, sure.
Because
Yeah.
like every time I mean, I'm a guy who grew up in the 80s. I watched all the action movies, of course, growing up religiously.
Yep.
And anytime, if you watched an Arnold movie or if you watched a Van Damme movie,
Yep.
they always had to address that they were from Austria or
Right.
France. Like they always
Mhm.
had to bring it into the storyline. And it's like, you don't need to. I don't care. They
Yeah.
always had to do it though, like where are you from or
Yeah.
something. And it's like,
Right, right. I
who
wonder if that
cares?
has anything to do with, like, the attention span of a person watching it. Because then if you're wondering maybe if you're wondering like, "Oh, I wonder what that accent is," maybe you miss a plot point. So they're like, "Well, if we explain it right away, right off the bat, we're not stealing attention." Or maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. This is a good conversation. I have no idea. I wonder if that's why they kept clarifying. I don't know for
I
sure.
don't know. I think with Arnold, it could have something to do with people's aversion to Germans, because
Oh,
in cinema, we always kind of have a villain of the month, and you
okay.
can
Yep.
always
Mhm.
see it throughout film. So, like, for a large portion of time in film, obviously the stock generic villain was always German. Right.
Mhm.
And then in the 80s, it became Russians. Right. And then in the early, like late 90s, early 2000s, it became Middle Eastern. Like every
Mhm.
villain in movies were Middle Eastern because obviously that's like who we were at war with, whether it was Cold War
Yes.
or if it was
Mhm.
Afghanistan or Iraq or if it was obviously World War II. And then even with the Korean War and Vietnam. And then there was like some Asian villainry in there, and the Germans were always perceived as like the villains, and Arnold's Austrian, and his father was actually part of the Nazis.
Oh my
um
gosh, I didn't know that.
yeah, I saw him in an
Crazy.
interview talking about that,
Yeah.
the Nazi party.
Mhm.
um and I think it's just like it's a way to address like, no, I'm not from Germany, I'm from Austria.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
what I
yeah, I
mentioned.
see. Yeah,
Even
that's
though his
interesting.
father was part of the Nazi party, supposedly.
Right.
Uh, don't quote me on that, though. I
Yeah.
swear that's what I
Okay.
heard in that review.
We
So,
said that a
we're
lot
not quoting
today.
each
We're like,
other. We're not quoting
Don't
each
quote
other.
me on that." Yeah, that's really interesting. Really interesting.
But I don't have
Um,
anything with Van Damme. I don't. I mean, France wasn't great though during that either.
France
So
yes. I,
yeah. So maybe
I
that's it.
I love how, earlier you're like, "Hey, like, we have to be careful, with my subscribers, like, what we say and this and that, whatever." Like, we've hit so many, like, hard topics. We
I'm
talked about
I'm
mangoes.
towing the
We
line.
talked
I'm
about
towing the line.
cars.
If you've ever watched the channel, I talk about things very candidly,
Great.
and I go for like an hour
Yeah.
on just
I
the
love
most
it. We
random
love
shit.
talking candidly. I love it.
Um,
That's why I felt
yeah,
comfortable to tell you all the things I just told you in the last hour and a bit. Like, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um, can I
Therapy
ask you
sessions
a
with Sinister
question,
Cinema.
Jason? I have a question
Yeah,
for you.
please ask away.
Okay, I need to know A, your favorite horror movie of all time,
Okay,
B, your favorite horror movie um that you've seen in the last 5 years, and then
okay.
your favorite horror movie that you've seen recently. You can give me a top 3 too, like, if you must.
Halloween has always been my favorite horror movie. It's what got me
Okay.
into the genre. So I feel like at
Oh,
this
okay, yeah.
point, it is one of those picks. Like everything about it's perfect to me. Even though I do think The Thing is a better movie overall.
Mm. Mhm.
Um, It just has more
I
going on to it.
recently, like, in the last few years, saw The Thing finally,
Yeah.
and it's like,
And we're not talking
again,
about the dicks,
we're not talking about
the
the
steak.
but can I tell you, the artistry that it took to make, like,
Oh,
all the
man.
crazy creatures and all the crazy shit that happens in
Crazy.
that movie, at the
Crazy.
time, like, I
Yeah.
just go like crazy. Anyway, keep going. Halloween, The Thing, yep.
Yeah, so Halloween was that movie that was introduced to me when I was 5,
Mhm,
and I don't know if it's weird because being in the horror community for so long, I've always noticed um, there's a couple similarities that every horror fan seems to have. Hardcore horror fans like us that live in the community and
mhm,
praise this shit like it's a religion.
yep,
Um, we all get into it very young, usually between the ages of 4 to 10.
mhm.
Um, and people think that this is a contributing factor that it makes sense that this is the case, and maybe it is, and I'm just denying it to be true. But most of us suffer from anxiety conditions, which I
Oh,
think
okay.
that's interesting because I never horror movies make me feel less anxious, right? So a
That's
lot of people
interesting.
like they connect the dots and like, well, yeah, you grew up putting scary shit into your mind the whole time. And it's like, no, I always went to horror to escape the scary shit, weirdly.
That's
It was
so
always some kind of
interesting.
therapeutic thing for me.
Wow. That's really very, very interesting. I have some really close people in my life who also struggle with a lot of anxiety, and, they love horror movies as well, and it's so funny, I would have never put 2 and 2 together, but it's
Yeah.
really interesting hearing you talk about that because I go, I can actually see that the anxiety that you feel in a horror movie when you know something bad is gonna happen might be, like, I don't know, like, comforting, or maybe it, like, cancels itself out because I don't
I don't
know.
I don't think that's what it is, and obviously I've
Mm,
thought about this a lot, and I made a pretty long video on this topic, so it's not like this is off the top of my head. I've always
mhm.
contributed to the idea that you're able to kind of face it, in a way that is, safe, right?
Mm.
And it makes you feel like you have a power over something that you don't feel like you have a power over otherwise, right? Like I suffer
Yeah,
from a I suffer from panic disorder, so
okay.
I have health anxiety. I'm a
Mhm.
hypochondriac. I think like I'm gonna die every
Okay.
second.
Yeah.
Um, and with horror movies, there's some kind of like I think for me personally, I guess this is off the top of my head, but there's such an uncertainty to every minute of my day. I always think I'm gonna wake up, I'm
Mm.
gonna find out I have cancer, I'm gonna wake up and, I'm gonna bullet's gonna come through the wall and hit me from like a drive-by or some shit, whatever.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, and with horror, like, but with that stuff, I don't ever know if that's actually coming. So it's always just kind of like, I always talk to when I was growing up, I had a I had a I had a stepfather who wasn't great to say the least. And he would always threaten violence all the
Mm.
time, but he
Mhm.
would he would almost never act on it.
Oh,
But
yeah, okay.
I personally believe that's what contributed to my anxiety disorder more than
Right.
anything,
Mhm.
because
Right.
that like that feeling you get when like if I just told you like, hey Steffi,
Yeah.
at some point during the day, I'm gonna hit you as hard as I can.
Right.
You're not
Yeah.
gonna know when it's coming, but at some point, it might
Yeah.
not be today, might be tomorrow, might be next week,
Yeah.
might be in a month, but at some point, you're not gonna see it coming. I promise you that. You're
Yeah.
just gonna be standing there and you're just gonna get absolutely obliterated.
Like, the threat of danger and the
The
threat of, like,
threat of
being
just
in
the feeling,
survival
like,
mode. Yeah.
because like
The fight or flight
whenever
of
I
that.
got hit, it was never what I imagined it to be. It was always like, I can deal with this. And this is the power of like monster movies. It's always like, you don't want to reveal. Steven Spielberg did this very well of like hiding the shark for so long, because once you can see the monster, you can kind of figure it
Yeah,
out. You got a
rationalize it
size,
kind
a
of?
scope. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, now I've seen it. Now I can maybe kind of
Mhm.
conceptualize and contextualize it better. I can figure out like the way I'm going to die, or like how I'm going to defeat
Yes.
this thing, or
Sure.
how scary it is. And
Yep.
there's, it puts it into perspective. And when your mind can run wild with absolutely, and then you're like, oh my God, you go through all these different, what if he hits me and then I fall and I hit my head on the concrete, like your
Right.
brain starts to go every which way, and you're
Mhm.
just tense, that
Mhm.
and I always tell people, like, they're like, oh, I don't know what a panic attack feels like. I don't know what anxiety feels like. And I'm like, have you ever almost been hit by a truck on the freeway and you get that
Right.
chilling like feeling that
Yeah.
shoots down your
Oh,
whole
yeah.
body for a second?
Yes.
Just think about that, but
Yes.
endlessly. It just feels
Right.
like that truck's gonna hit you always,
Wow, that's a
right?
really, like, amazing analogy to make, actually. I had
Yeah.
never thought of it like that, but, yeah, thank you for sharing all of this, by the way.
Oh yeah. So, as far as horror movies go, I just think that with Michael Myers or something, like, I know he's gonna kill you. I know it's
Yeah.
coming, and it's like he does it and it's over, and it's almost like I'm thankful for it. Like, it's
Oh,
fucking
right.
over. I'm dead
Yes,
now. At least
right.
I don't have to be afraid anymore.
Yeah, I
So I
see
don't
where
know.
you're
There's
coming
something about the finality of it. There's something, and then
from.
there's also an anger too, for sure. That's
Yeah.
cathartic. That's
Yeah,
there as
sure.
well. But
Yeah.
anxiety has a lot to do with it. And plus,
Yeah.
with the more modern film, especially, they did it before in the past with some of the more highbrow efforts of like The
Mhm.
Shining and whatnot. But I feel like
Yeah.
modern horror is much more, um, you know, it explores the human condition more. It's much
Sure.
more, um, okay, let's not fight. Cat and the dog are going at each other.
Oh, I
But
see.
it's
Oh, I hear it.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm that would bring me, so like Halloween was my favorite when I was a kid,
Mhm. Yep.
because it's much more visceral,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And
Yep.
there and it is a little more surface level. As much as I love like Dr. Loomis, and he's this incredible presence, and he does bring a depth to it.
Mhm.
Outside of that, everything else is pretty just raw and visceral, and just,
Mhm.
some a snapshot in the day of the life of like a random teenager, and then a guy
Yeah.
just stabbing them to death.
Yes.
As to where the more, um mature and sophisticated guy that I am now,
Mhm.
um Hereditary and
I knew you were gonna
Midsommar.
say that, I feel. And what's the second one?
um Midsommar, his second film. Those are
Yes.
those movies that really get at the core of what's actually scary, right? And for me, what's always been scary, because
Mhm.
I find this total disconnect for people, where they find this thing scary or this thing scary. It just depends on who you are. And
Mhm.
I can always conceptualize how anything's scary, right? Like,
Sure.
I always try to watch a movie like that. Like, how would I react in this situation if this happened? It would be scary always. But the thing that scares me more than anything is not the villain, the monster, the thing that could come and hurt my family, and I have to protect against that. And
Mhm.
maybe I'm not there and I can't get there in time, and my kids, that's terrifying, of course. But it's me doing it to them,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Right? Like
Yeah.
the
Uh-huh.
trust being broken, and me harming them when I'm supposed to be their protector.
Yes, right. I
That's
see
what
what you're
scares
saying.
me more than anything, right?
Yes, right.
I'm
Yeah.
supposed to I'm supposed to protect my kids. I'm supposed to love them. I'm supposed to be, their rock. I'm supposed to be the person who makes sure that they're always safe.
Yeah, of
And
course.
thinking
Yeah.
of some entity or some mental illness or something coming in,
Yeah.
and making me the threat, and knowing, because there's a question I've asked recently that I never really thought of before, but I actually love this now that I've thought about it. I'm sure you've seen
Yeah.
Halloween
Yeah.
a couple times.
Of course.
So I actually have a couple theories with the movie that I think would probably blow your mind. One of
Oh,
them
tease me.
being
Okay.
that, and will make you actually look at these movies in a completely different way,
Yes.
because I've seen it so many goddamn times. So theory number one, and this one kind of blows my mind, is when Linda is strangled to death in the bedroom, when
Mhm.
Michael's wearing sheet. Linda dies thinking Bob's killing her.
Huh.
That trips me out when I think about it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Mhm.
She doesn't know
Yeah,
Michael's in the house. She doesn't know Michael's
of
escaped.
course.
She just think
Right,
Bob went down and is playing a prank on her and strangling her to death. She's like, why the fuck is Bob killing me right now?
right, and that's the last thought she has before she
As she
dies.
dies. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
she dies thinking her boyfriend killed her.
that's fucked. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That
Yeah,
really screws with me sometimes when I watch it. I'm
yeah.
like, she does. I mean, she's who, Michael Myers. Who the hell's that? She doesn't know who the hell that is.
Of course, she doesn't know there's a killer on the loose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And theory number two, and this is actually a video I made, and then it was actually refuted by another bigger channel to mine, and they came up with
Oh.
some things, and they were like, "No, it can't be this way." And then I argued back with them. It was kind of a thing for a minute.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
So
Okay.
yeah, I made this video on that Annie, because if you just look at the single film before the sequels were written, because obviously the sequels weren't ever meant to be a thing. This was supposed to be
Sure,
a self-contained
absolutely.
story when
Mhm.
Carpenter and Deborah Hill wrote it. So the theory is that Annie, not Laurie, is Michael's intended target. That he does not have any actual interest in Laurie after he gets his sights set on Annie. So if you watch the movie,
Right.
Laurie comes to his door. This is like she crosses the threshold to his house,
Mhm.
and he then becomes fixated. He follows her around. He sees Tommy Doyle. He follows him. He then follows Laurie to class and to her house and all of that. But it's when Annie yells, "Hey, jerk, speed kills," he breaks, and this is like his first show of like aggression in Haddonfield since he
Huh.
returned.
Right.
And from that point on, if you pay attention to the movie, yes, so my argument to this is the only other time you see him go after Lori at all is when he's standing in her backyard when she's seeing the curtains blow and then he disappears.
Yeah.
I am of the mind that's in her head. I don't think he's actually there because that scene doesn't make any sense otherwise.
Right.
Because she even makes reference to it in her head. Like she's like, this is ridiculous. Like you're starting, and Annie makes reference to it on the phone where she's like,
Oh,
now you're
right.
hearing voices, right? Like you're hearing
Yes.
things, you're seeing things. So I do
Yes,
believe
right.
because she saw him at the class, she saw him behind the bushes. I think she's like seeing him in the backyard, but he isn't there. I actually believe he's not there because it makes no
Oh.
sense otherwise. How could he disappear? It doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
right. I see what
So
you're
that's the only
saying.
scene because behind the bush, you see him walk away. When she
Yes,
looks
right.
away in class, she looks back and he drove off. Those are
Right.
explainable. The one behind the
Yeah,
sheets, completely unexplainable. So to me, I'm like,
right.
he's not even there. So that was
Right.
their argument to why I'm not right because they're like, no, he does follow her from there. So if you do put that one aside though, for the
Yeah.
rest of the night, he follows Annie around driving. He follows Annie over to the Wallace house. He
Mhm.
stays at the Wallace house 100% of the time. And it isn't
Right.
until Lori goes over there that he starts to chase her. He has no interest in Laurie Strode the whole movie.
Huh, that's really interesting.
He never
I
comes
can
over to the
really tell
Doyle
you've
house
thought
one
about
single
this.
time until he chases Lori over there.
Huh.
But think about this, and this is my key. This is my my big argument here.
Mhm.
He killed his sister when he was a child, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
That's his big kill. He's trying to recreate that moment, right?
Yeah.
Who does he give the tombstone to? He places so it's only because people come into that house that he kills them, right? So
Yeah.
Annie's in that house. He follows Annie everywhere. He kills Annie. He places her on the bed. He puts his sister's tombstone above her head, making
Oh,
her Judith Myers.
right.
And then it's Linda and Bob come into the house. He kills them. Lori comes into the house. He tries to kill her. And it's like, you're disturbing my house. Like, this is my house now.
Right.
Annie is my sister. Like, go away. I'm going to kill you if you come in this
Oh
house.
my
He doesn't have
god.
any interest in anyone else, just Annie.
Right. Interesting.
Right?
I can tell you've really thought about this, like,
I have
hard.
indeed. I have
Yeah,
indeed.
like and it makes me wanna rewatch it and see what's up. I wanna the whole, like, the thing I'm most interested in is, like, he was never there, she was hallucinating maybe, or, like, just saw him in the
Yeah,
backyard or, like, whatever.
yeah,
I just go like, "Yeah, that yeah. Don't we
yeah.
we can see crazy things that aren't there or, like, whatever." I'm very, very curious about these theories.
Speaking of division,
Yeah.
holy shit. Have you ever like frequented a Halloween horror group? Because those are the most toxic people you'll ever meet.
Okay, so you know how earlier you were like, I don't know if you like horror and you go see horror and you do horror or whatever, or if you're in the community. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not in the community. I think I knew there was a horror
Smart move.
community, but I don't like partake. I'm not the other thing is like I'm not great at like social media and like doing the online thing. So I think maybe
Yeah.
that's why I'm not. But I'm part of the my friends are huge horror fans. Like I have like a few friends that we always go see the movies together. And then that's who I'm usually discussing horror with. Like, I'm not going online and like discussing horror, though, like that sounds like fun. I'm just like not great at stuff like this. But
Yeah.
so I think that's why maybe no, I've never gone to a Halloween horror anything. I went
Yeah.
to Halloween horror trivia on Halloween.
Yeah.
Um
You do
by
okay?
the way, I don't know if you've seen my Instagram, but I did dress up as Chucky for Halloween.
I
Did you
did.
see it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well,
Yeah.
thank God, because I was
Yeah. I
very
thought I
proud.
commented.
Oh, you
I'm pretty
did, right. I even
Yeah,
dyed
yeah.
I spray painted my hair orange. But yeah, I like honestly, I had to, and then, my boyfriend dressed up as me dying. He dressed up, like, in the skirt and everything, the Samantha outfit, the president's secretary. So that's really fun. Oh, yay! There it is. Isn't
There it
that
is.
so funny? Anyway, I thought
This
it
is
was
your
hilarious.
boyfriend?
That's right, yeah.
Okay. And he's dressed like you.
He's me. Yeah, he's me
Yeah,
from
that's great.
Chucky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
but post, like, throat being slit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Let me
also
just
those
make sure.
overalls, like, can I tell you, I'm gonna wear those overalls in the summer. They're, I got them at Hot Topic. They're so
Oh,
cute.
yeah.
They're good guy doll overalls, but, like, they're really, really cute, and I'm gonna actually wear them for real in the summer. I
Yeah,
just
here I
wanted
am.
people to know that. Oh, yeah, there you are.
Okay, I was making
Oh,
sure. I
yeah.
was like, "I swear
Of
I
course.
commented on that." Okay, okay,
You
okay. Makes any
gotta.
sense.
So,
Uh,
yeah.
so, okay, 1 second. Last thing before we go, I'll get you out of
Yes, of
here.
course.
This is the longest interview we've done.
Hey, by the way, like, did you can I tell you my top choices also?
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be
I
it.
wanna tell
So,
you
my
can I tell you I
last
can Oh, yeah, the last one.
that was gonna
Oh,
be the
see, Night
last
of the
thing there,
Living
so
Fred just asked me. Okay, my 5 favorite horror movies? Can I answer this question?
go for it. That's what we're here for.
5, top 5? Okay, this is really hard. Okay. It Follows?
Oh, are you excited for They Follow?
Is that real or is that a joke?
Yeah, they announced it 2 months ago.
What?
David David announced it with Micah Monroe returning. Yeah, they're in
What?
production right now. Yeah.
Stop. Okay, I'm
Oh,
shook.
wow, I
Okay.
get to blow your mind now.
Yeah, yeah, my mind was blown. Okay, It Follows,
Okay.
The Human Centipede, the
Oh
first one,
my Okay. That was
okay?
not what I was expecting.
No, definitely not. Um, Oculus, you
Okay,
know,
like
the
some
one with the
Flanagan.
mirror?
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The one that I saw last year that I honestly, I went because it was getting so many like, it was getting so many things online of, like, people are going to this movie and, like, leaving in the middle of the movie because it's so gross, and people are puking and this and that, whatever, and I was like, "Yo," I called up my really good friend and I was like, "We're going to see this because I'm too curious to know." And it became one of my favorite ones. Terrifier 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Did you see it?
Of course, I've seen everything.
Amazing. And then at 5,
I actually know Damien and David, and I did a good long interview
oh my
with
god.
Sienna, the main girl.
Oh my god, that's
She's
incredible. She's incredible in the movie. She's awesome. And, like, also, I just,
yeah,
like, I
she's
gotta tell
wonderful.
you, like, this actor who's playing the Terrifier, I just
Yeah,
like I
that's
gotta tell
David.
you that movie gave me nightmares, and I don't get nightmares easily from watching horror unless
Yeah.
it's like I will say sometimes, like, movies where people get possessed, like, by demons or the devil or stuff like that, like, I'll still watch it, but it bothers me, like, a little bit, like, it scares me a lot, like, I think those movies with, like, ghosts and demons are the ones that scare me the most, um, but I just, like anyway, I just, like, wanna say about Terrifier t 2, I just felt like the story was, like, really, really good, but the imagery was so disturbing that
Yeah.
that's why I think, like, for nights at a time me and my friend were texting days after going like, "Yo, I had crazy dreams last night," and it's like, there's something about it feeling like a bad dream, like, you're watching the movie and it really feels like you're in a nightmare. A lot of the sequences, like, in the when they're in
Yeah.
the TV
The
show
Clown
and all that kind of
Cafe.
stuff, like, it's so disturbing, but I genuinely felt like also, isn't the runtime, like, 3.5 hour
It's
no, it's 3 hours?
2:25, I wanna say. Here's our
2
interview
okay.
with Lauren.
Tw Oh my god, I love her shirt. How
Yeah,
fun!
she was
Oh
a
god,
doll.
amazing. Oh,
See,
so great.
my wife didn't hate her like you, I guess,
Yeah,
she showed
exactly. I
up for
know,
that
I
one.
can't believe your wife's not here. It sucks. Yeah,
It's alright.
but, after all this, like, I don't know if I can pick a 5th one. I feel like I have to pick
It's
listen,
tough, right?
the Chucky TV series, like, I fucking love. Like, all the
Yeah,
3 seasons, like, it's so good, and I love the long form of it. Like, I think it's
yeah,
great, so maybe I'll pick that as my 5th because I do love seeing the evolution of
yeah.
everyone in the show. I think it's really cool, and I think also the show's just really, really smart and also tackles, like, really interesting subject matter as well as, like, you still get the kills, you get the gore, you get, like, the scary bits, and you also get, like, some, like, really nice I don't know, some, like, nice friendship moments, some romance and, like, some important stuff. I just find, like, it kinda hits it hits, like, different than maybe other stuff does in that form. Yeah, so
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually kinda surprised, honestly, with as volatile as the online sphere is towards anything woke.
sure. Yes.
Um, I'm actually kinda shocked I've heard so little, if not any,
Yeah,
um, like, negativity towards an interracial gay,
right.
teenage couple in a popular horror franchise. That's kind of
Yeah.
amazing to me
It
because
is
you can't
amazing.
put a black character or a gay character in a movie now without someone considering it to be like woke agenda. And it's like they're literally just fucking existing. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't like anything now is just like inflammatory to people. It
Yeah.
really is kind of
But
insane how pathetic
isn't
people
that
are.
why Chucky fans are the best fans? Chucky fans are the best fans.
Unfortunately, not enough people watch it. I'll tell you, I talked to a lot of horror people in the horror community, and they're like,
Mhm.
I just don't watch the show." And I'm like, "You're fucking out
We
of your
gotta get
mind."
people to watch it then, like, people have to
I
watch it because
try.
it's so
We
great.
we've,
So great.
the way that you found us, obviously, is, we do
Yeah.
every episode individually the
Yeah, I
night they
love
air,
it.
so
Yeah. I
yeah.
went down a rabbit hole. That's how I found you. It's that I just went down
You
a
started
rabbit hole
watching all
after
of them.
because I started watching,
I
like,
wanna see if someone mentions
reaction
me.
videos. Well, also the reaction videos were like I found so many people who do reactions just to the deaths and stuff, and I was just like, "This is just so funny to me." Like, seems like such a cult classic thing to do, like, to be like,
Yeah,
"I'm gonna
it's a
watch
niche
this
audience.
death," like, you know what I mean? And just rate the death and see how gory it was and all that stuff, and I just
Yeah,
find that, like, so fascinating, and again,
yeah,
like, this you have to keep in mind this is, like, bucket list stuff for me, so,
yeah,
I just, like yeah, I fell down the rabbit hole so hard because I was like, "Oh, I'm so happy I'm a part of that world even in the smallest little way." You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
it just
absolutely.
meant a lot, and it's, like, so cool, and honestly, it's, like, bucket list, like, dream stuff, like, for me.
Oh,
Even for the amount of screen time that I had, I'm telling you, it had a huge impact on, like, on me and, like, kind of the I don't know, it's, like, one of the coolest freaking things I've ever done, like, and it always will be. I think, like, dying
awesome.
at the hands of Chucky is, like, the I mean, that's the ultimate thing. I just think it's
Yeah.
the coolest thing that's ever happened in my career ever. Yeah, it's so fun.
So
It's so
last
great.
question.
Yeah, okay,
It'll
okay,
be like a two-part question, I guess.
okay,
What
alright.
would be like the next thing, right, for like what you would want to do? Bucket
Ooh.
list. Liza Minnelli, uh,
Yeah,
biopic, biopic.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Uh-huh, okay.
and what
Second
is
question.
next for
Oh,
Steffi,
yeah, okay.
Stephanie?
Yeah, I love these questions. Okay. Wow, if I had to pick something, I'll tell you what, I I would love it because I will say what I love about the Chucky universe as well is that people come back all the time as different people. Like,
Yeah,
Devon Sawa is the perfect example of that. He's been killed 1,000 times in 1,000
yeah.
different ways and played so many different parts on it. I love
You
the
can come back.
idea of being a part of something like that. Also, like, when I used to watch American Horror Story,
Yeah,
that
right.
happened in that show too. I find the
Yeah,
concept of that really, really cool. So,
yeah.
like, listen, I would never be mad if, like, Don Mancini called me up and was like, "Hey, you're gonna die in another horrible way and this and that, whatever." So that'd be cool. Yes, the Liza Minnelli biopic, like 110%. But like I said earlier, like I just want so badly to be a scream queen, and yeah, I feel like I'd give a lot up to like, even be in the B horror flicks that kind of like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I'm all about that life. I love watching them, so it would be amazing to be in them. Also, what's next for me? I can't talk about it because contracts and
Yeah.
stuff. But
Yeah.
if you want to follow me on Instagram at SteffiD5, you're gonna find out soon enough. So,
Yeah. Did
unfortunately, legally, that's all I'm allowed to say.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
funny. So
NDAs
it's
and
something
stuff.
big though. If you had to sign something, it has to be something bigger.
We well, God, I hope so. Yeah, yeah. And, stage and screen, there's stuff coming up, on both ends. So if you're in Toronto, you can come see me on stage soon. And, yeah, and then if you're watching TV, there's gonna be stuff on TV too. So there you go.
This is her
Oh,
Instagram for
sweet.
everybody.
Oh my god, thank you so much for
So
doing that.
definitely check her out
Check it
there.
out. Oh, by the way,
So you
there's
can
one
see
last thing
her
before I
Tide
leave.
commercials.
Oh my god. Yeah, of course. I also want you to know that, I can only show you this part of it, but, we had such a big conversation about my name, when we started this conversation. I
Yeah.
just want you to know that I got to keep a memento from the Chucky set, and it was the back of
Oh.
my chair.
Wow, you got your own chair?
Yeah.
Shit, you almost had to have two chairs just to fit your name.
I know, but can I tell you, when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, they fit my entire name on this?" Like, I
Yeah.
was shook.
The
Yeah,
lettering had to
like,
be smaller. I'm
look at
surprised
this.
it's not like
Crazy. I know, like,
if they
look
put
at
your
it,
whole
they
name on
nailed
there, now
it.
that would be really fucking
They
impressive.
nailed it. Steffi, Stephanie Marie. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Isn't this
Yeah,
crazy? Anyway, I just wanted to
it
show you
is.
that because that's a fun little memento I got to keep, which is really fun. Yeah. A lot of people
Yeah,
were like, "Did you
when
get to
I see
keep
that
your
on
head?"
eBay, I'll know
I
that
know.
you've changed
There you go.
performances. Uh,
Perfect. You got it in one
I
more
got it in
time,
one
and I'm
last time
proud of
before.
you.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh my god, how nice. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I
Is there
really
a
appreciate
director that
that.
Steffi has not worked with that she would like to
Oh,
work with? I'm sure plenty.
ooh. Oh my god, like at 1,000,000? So many. There's so many
All of
people.
them.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I will say I just saw Poor Things, and, I'm
Oh,
not
my favorite
did
movie
you
last
see it?
year.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and, it was so fantastical, like, I loved the aesthetic of it, like, I'd love to be in a
Yeah.
movie like that at some
You want to
point,
work
that would
with
be really
Yorgos.
cool. Yeah, 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 I think so, I think
Supposedly
so.
him and Emma already have another film finished. They announced
Really?
that the like
They love
last
each other.
month. They were
Yeah.
like, we already have a film finished and it should be out this year.
Oh my
Total
god, that's
secret
amazing.
project. Like what the
So
fuck?
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing, I'm excited. That's great.
Yeah, Poor Things was amazing. Um so thank
Yeah.
you,
Oh
Steffi,
my
for
god.
coming on.
Thank you for
Well,
having me, I really appreciate it. This was
yeah.
really cool. Yeah.
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 I told you it'd be the best. I guaranteed her we'd have the best time ever. Did I
Oh,
live
yes,
up
you did.
to
Yes, I
that?
did.
Is this the best
Absolutely, we did
interview we've
have the best
ever
time
done?
ever. Yeah, ever, like, truly. No, 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 this was so much fun, and to be honest with you, like, um, it's so fun to get to talk about horror. Like I said, I'm not a part of the online horror community, I just talk about it with my friends when we go see stuff, and I try to go see, like, most horror things that are out, but this was really nice. You're like a diehard, though. I could never be at the same level as you because you know so much, but it was a pleasure being in your presence and hearing all of your theories and your love of horror
Mm.
movies. I find it very exciting.
Wow, look at that. There you go.
Oh my god, Night of the Living Fred. Thank
Yeah.
you. I was the
Yeah.
best guest ever? Like,
Yeah.
that's a high praise, very high
Tell him what
praise.
clubs you're gonna be performing in so he can come throw some ones at you.
One more. Hey, like,
Throw the
in hindsight, I want you to rewatch this later, Jason, and I want you to, like, do a tick for every time you make
tick,
the
yeah.
performer just to see how many times.
I gotta laugh every time. I turned into my kids there. I'm gonna milk it to death.
No, 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 you must, you must. I'm a big fan of, like, you just need to, like, like, just ram a joke, like,
Hammer,
bust
yeah.
down people's
Beat it
throats
to
as
the
you
ground.
yeah, beat it to the ground, like, yeah. I love it, like, truly.
All
Thanks
right.
again so much for having me, I really appreciate it, and thank you
Hang
everyone for your
around for a
time.
second after. I'm gonna
Of
chat with
course.
you, but
Yeah, of
all right,
course.
guys. Thanks for joining us,
Bye.
and we'll
Thank
see you
you.
next time.
See you next time. See
Bye.
ya.